Yeah, guys, we're on a tight schedule, trying to turn this thing around quickly. With today really being like a Tuesday for our players and for our staff, that speeds things up. But I want to encourage fans to support the Season of Giving collection drive that the Athletic Association is doing. It supports families in need in our Athens community. They're collecting items, I think, through December 10th. And they want warm clothing items, hygiene kit materials, non-perishable food, all the stuff that can be dropped off at the main third floor entrance of this building, the Butts-Mehre building. So additionally, items will be collected at upcoming men's and women's basketball games and at the end of the women's volleyball match. I know Leland will send out a lot more details on that in the future, but that's a big deal for our Athletic Association, and we want to push that out to folks. We are on to Georgia Tech. We got started on them yesterday, which was like a Monday, which was very unique for us because it's not Monday, but it was like a Monday in terms of practice for us and moving things up. Of all the years we've been here, I think this is the first time we've had kind of a different timeline schedule for it like this. So our guys are excited. This is a huge matchup. This is an interstate rivalry game that's been part of history for a long, long time. And it is a physical game. It was a very physical game last year. It'll be a physical game this year. I'm excited to be at home on a Friday night and looking forward to our crowd impacting this game. And we need them to impact this game because we do have it at home.
Yeah, Coach, I know you had some recruiting Saturday night to finish up, but I'm curious your thoughts as the SEC upsets finished up and you guys get awarded a chance to play in the SEC championship game. Your thoughts on playing in the championship game?
My thoughts are on Georgia Tech. I mean, it's a great honor to be able to play in the SEC championship game. It is probably one of the greatest events in all sports because the games that you play in are great matchups. But at this point in time, we don't even know who that is, nor do I care. My concern, 100%, is with Georgia Tech because of what that game means to so many in this state, so many on our team. And what it means to this season and this seniors playing at home. So that's the focus.
Kirby, do you modify things a little bit to get your kids a little bit of a break physically, or have you modified? If so, how do you do that on a short week? Still try to get them the rest that they may need between games while still being prepared?
Yeah, it's a tough balance. I mean, there's not a perfect remedy. We spent a lot of off-season time talking to programs that have Friday games after Saturday games. So you can imagine the teams around the country that play their game on Friday of this week. And we've talked to a lot of those guys about best way to manage it. But at this time of the year, you're trying to dial back on contact anyway because it's the end of the year. Now, you add that to the schedule we've played, the injuries we have, and the turnaround, and it's like a mountain of stuff there to kind of unpack. And we're trying to be smart, but we're also trying to be physical. And Georgia Tech's going to be physical, so are we. So it's going to be one of those really tough physical games that I think to play tough and physical, you got to practice tough and physical.
Kirby, what stood out to you about Aaron Faler, freshman quarterback at Tech, played right down the road? Just what have you seen from him this year?
Great poise, confidence. I mean, he broke the Georgia high school passing record, most ever passing yards. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks who he surpassed to get that record. So he's got confidence. He's thrown the ball a lot. It's not like it's foreign to him. They've got some really good weapons. I mean, their backs catch the ball well out of the backfield. They've got speed on the perimeter. They do a really good job in the run game, so they keep you honest. But he's played really well, played with confidence, and to watch him, play the game like he did Thursday night, he was at his best when his best was needed.
Kirby, I'm curious when you found out this game was going to be played on a Friday night, and obviously you're a father, you got guys on your staff who have kids playing on Friday night. There's the recruiting piece of that too with the high schools. Just your thought, when did you find out, and then what are your thoughts on that part of it?
I don't remember when I found out. I mean, I don't keep up with time like that. I mean, I don't know. It was sometime last year when it was up for debate, maybe after the season, or maybe even before the season last year. It was brought to our attention that it was a possibility, and would both teams be interested. The thought was, number one, you could get more exposure for both programs in terms of that game time, that slot being available. That also checking with Georgia High School, it was going to be a good slot to not conflict with high school playoffs. So where you say it does, something happened this year with the hurricane where it pushed everything back and it made a bigger conflict. Otherwise, this would have been really no issue, and that was checked on first. So I think due to weather, that affected us. I think both teams agreed to doing it, and that's kind of how it came about.
Coach, what's stood out to you about the way Brent Key has built the program over there as a fellow alum of the school he's now coaching?
Stood out as he's doing it the good old-fashioned way, hard work, recruiting. They're in the same recruiting battles we are. They're going after the best players in the state, just like we are, and they're doing a better job on that front in terms of being able to recruit them. But they're still really physical. He coached. He coached with Nick. He coached with George O'Leary, who's one of the best there is at managing a program and being physical. So he knows what he's doing. He's got a great staff. I mean, he's hired a really good staff, and they got good football players.
Coach, you kind of partly answered this question a while ago, talking about the rivalry and players understanding what it means, but is it the same as, I almost say, back in the day when everybody knows how all the hatred kind of flows from this? But so many of these guys now know each other, they go to camps together, that sort of thing. Is it still the same? You have to remind them why this is such a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think you do that every week. Every time you have a rivalry game, you explain the rivalry and what it means. It's just more significant when it's inside your state. Like we have a lot of rivals at Georgia because of the geographic nature of our state. We touch all these other states that are all SEC states. So you end up playing a lot of SEC opponents that are, contiguous with us. So when you go to Georgia Tech, they're in our state. And they got a tremendous program, and more of our kids have been recruited by them, and they know. I mean, they get the sense of the importance of the game from the older players on the team who've played in it and the coaches who have.
Kirby, what's important for your defensive guys with the way Georgia Tech rotates their quarterbacks?
Well, regardless of the quarterback, the importance is to strike, play physical, understand what you're getting yourself into in terms of what kind of game this is going to be. So before you even know who the quarterback is, you got to know what kind of game it's going to be, and it's going to be physical. It's going to be tough, and you got to play good football. You got to swarm, like good defensive football. You got to swarm and tackle well. So it's all about us, and not just about the quarterback. But that will be a key ingredient. That they know that too. So. I mean, Faler can run. He ran the other night, and they ran design runs with him. He can do those things. And King is a really good player that got after us last year. So we know what they're capable of. And Buster was here. So both staffs know a lot about each other.
Hey, Kirby, what is your attention with that Tech defense, especially with the way they played against Miami, not slowing down, but I guess maybe limiting one of the most explosive offenses in the country?
Yeah. They're really good. They're talented. They've upgraded in terms of through the portal and the way they play. The defensive staff's doing a tremendous job. They play really hard, play physical, pressure. They do a great job with their disguise packages. They've got a really good defense. They're playing well.
Yeah, Kirby, any update on Christian Miller going out Saturday?
Yes, he's banged up. Didn't do much yesterday. Don't know what he'll be able to do today. Still trying to kind of assess because we didn't, for like a Monday, I didn't get to see much yesterday and we weren't in pads. So we'll find out more as the week goes.
Yeah, similar note, Dylan Bell and Anthony Evans, what is their status for Saturday's game?
Yeah, they both did some stuff yesterday, went out and worked out. I think both of them are going to be, good to go and be able to help us. But we'll see because I'll know a lot more after today's practice.
Kirby, I know that this may be just coach speak, but I guess I wonder, Brent Key said last summer, I guess, there's nothing he hates more in the world. The only thing I actually hate. When you talk about Georgia Tech, what's your take on rivalry and emotions, feelings for this game?
Yeah, I don't think you get real emotional about things like that. I think you're a lot better, coach, when you stay composed and you coach your players and you teach your players what it's going to take to win the game, which it will be a emotional game. but I don't get emotional about it. It's an interstate rivalry. It's a chance at a state championship. It's a lot of pride. It's a lot of history in the game. But the game's played between the lines, between the players.
We didn't get to see these guys this past Saturday, but can you tell us about the development of Ryan Puglisi and James and what they've done this year, what they need to work on?
Yeah, they're both really good quarterbacks who have gotten better in our system. As you know, Ryan was here in the spring but missed considerable time in the spring with injury. And then Rashada didn't get afforded the opportunity in spring, so he's been having to pick it up quickly from being here summer and fall camp and picking all those things up. But they're both doing a great job.
Coach, understanding that you and your core staff and the team is fully focused on Georgia Tech, I just wonder about the logistics side of now you have another game. You know it's going to be one of these two opponents. What are the logistics of that? Like your support staff and stuff like that? Is some attention shifted away fully onto those two teams and the possibility of getting them a week hence?
Not one thing different, Joe. Not one thing different. Because we would have been playing this game still not knowing. The difference is we know, but we don't know who it is. I mean, there's things that could have happened this coming weekend that would have determined whether we played or not. So we would have had to prepare the same way, which is no preparation. The preparation is Georgia Tech. There's nothing we can really do, and we don't really worry about it. We worry about one game at a time. I mean, we know when we played Alabama that we had Auburn the next week, right? We don't do anything for Auburn. We're worried about the game we have.
Kirby Jaylen was named finals for the Butkus Award today. What does he mean to you, and what is his best attribute?
Well, what does he mean to me personally? He's an unbelievable kid, Christian, believes in his thoughts and processes, and he was raised in a wonderful family where he has a lot of confidence in himself to stand up, talk to the team, command leadership, demand respect, do things the hard way, and set a standard the right way. I mean, like, he is a great young man. I would be hard measured to say what his greatest attribute is, because his could be character. His could be the ability to run, the ability to strike people and be violent and hit and flip a switch on the field. But he's elite at all those things. This kid is a very, very special person on and off the field first, but he's also very talented. So I'm very honored and happy for him. He deserves that.
You mentioned them briefly, but Buster Faulkner, what's the biggest impact he made on your program?
Buster was incredible in terms of insight, ideas, work habits, recruiting. He recruited really hard while he was here. He was very loyal. He didn't try to overstep his boundaries, which when you're in that role, sometimes as an analyst, which he was here, you have to be careful because you're trying to assert yourself and prove that you're a good coach, but you don't want to overstep the other coaches. And his rules while he was here was to coach the coaches and help us, and he did a tremendous job of that. He made me a better coach, and he's also a great father and husband as well.
Yeah, what has Andrew Thacker brought to you guys as an organizational standpoint with him formally coming over from Tech?
Yeah, he does a great job. He's got a lot of energy, enthusiasm. Defensively, he's been great for our defense in terms of energy, excitement. Players really like him. He does a great job of knowing his role, of defining his role and being very helpful. And he's been a big asset for us.
So we're all on those same lines. Josh Crawford comes over from Georgia Tech. Just what do you think of the job he's done, both coaching these running backs and recruiting for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know many people that have had to go out and play with three true freshmen in a critical, pivotal game, which really happened against Tennessee. And those kids didn't flinch. He didn't flinch. You prepare year-round to have them ready for a moment like that. He's done that. He's very intelligent and does a good job demanding excellence from those kids, and that's a big part. He was a really good high school coach in the state as well, which I think is big.
Coach, any updated progress report on maybe getting some running backs healthier this week? Maybe anybody might see some action come back?
We'll know more today. Branson and Rod both have looked good in the last week in terms of picking up their pace, running, cutting, We're gonna progress them today. They're gonna do more today than they have. They ran, I guess y'all saw them Saturday run. They did more yesterday. We're day by day with those guys, but there's a possibility. So we're excited about them getting back to work.
Kirby, I think you used the word fluke after the game the other day about the shot play downfield against you guys. Is there anything in particular with the DBs that you guys as a staff focus on to try to curtail that kind of thing?
Yeah, reps. I mean, reps and reps. You know, the Tennessee week, we probably had a broken record for volume of plays down the field. You know, playing the ball, what we call in and out of phase. And you know, there's a lot of those that are one-on-one, and they're not a fluke. You get beat. But when you have two guys there, that's when it just looks that much worse. It's like you know, playing the ball. That's been a huge emphasis for us this year, is playing the ball in the air and being able to, you know, you get beat sometimes and you got to have confidence with your back to the ball. But then there's times where your back's not to the ball and you got to locate it and find it, or you're a safety breaking over the top and you got to make a hit or tackle, and you got to target the right area and you got to aim for the right spots and you got to tackle people so that what happened the other day doesn't happen.
Got time for one more question?
Kirby, there's a stat floating around out there. 7 SEC teams in the top 25, 13 and 12 in true SEC road games. Is that night games? Is that portal? Or what do you attribute that 13 and 12 record to for the 7 SEC teams in the top 25?
I don't know what to attribute to. First question I would ask is, what was the record last year on the road for ranked teams? Because I don't think it's changed. It's hard. It's hard to play on the road in the SEC. Now, maybe more of them are happening at night because of the television contract. I don't know that. I don't really know that. I don't know those stats. It's not any harder this year than it was last year. It's just hard. And so maybe it's shown up more.
All right, thanks, Coach.